Aries, this is your week ahead astrology forecast by Astrology Motivation. In these videos, every single week, I review the major planetary aspects and transits and how they're going to impact or aspect your natal sun so that you know exactly how you're going to be affected by the energies this week. This is the week of September 21st through the 27th of 2023. I'm going to start off really broad with the big stuff, and then I'll focus everything down into Aries specific information. And then I'll break everything down into the 3 decans of Aries so that I can know exactly what aspects are forming to your particular natal suns based on your birth dates. So that's all you really have to know to understand these videos. I translate everything else for you. Let's start out with the big stuff. The big stuff is that the sun is transiting into Libra, and that means that Libra season will begin officially on September 23rd in the wee hours of the morning for most of the continental United States, except for Pacific Coast time. If you're in California, Oregon, Washington, if y'all are going to be experiencing this sun transiting into Libra season for you begins on September 22nd at 11:59 p.m. So you just made it into September 22nd by a minute. And of course, Hawaii and Alaska, you guys are going to be September 22nd as well. This marks the equinox. So the autumnal equinox, just like the spring equinox, is when there's as much daylight hours as there is nighttime hours. That's great. What does that really mean? And why does that make me so psyched? Because when this happens in the spring, it is Aries energy. But when this happens in the fall, and that's not necessarily balanced energy, it's very aggressive energy. It's very new. It's very intent. But when it happens in the fall equinox marks the beginning of Libra season. And Libra is all about balance. It's all about equality. It's all about finding harmony. And harmony is balance. And it's such a natural and gorgeous thing. And you can feel the relaxation starting to occur already when we come upon the fall. People aren't as hyperactive. They're not as active in general. Not that they're not social, but everything kind of moves more inward. And as we slip into the longer nighttime hours, that's how things will continue. I associate all that stuff with the cozy comfort of the holiday season, but you may experience it in a different way. Please feel free to share. I would love to know. As the sun moves into Libra on the 23rd, all week long, the sun is going to be in opposition to Neptune. This was happening last week as well. This is difficult energy simply because it can make it a lot easier for people to be deceived, especially when it comes to things that you take personally. So people can play easily on your ego. Deception, distraction, very easy in this energy, or a lot easier than it should be. So this is not the best time for great decision making, for believing things or taking things at face value. It's not the best time for it. If anything seems interesting to you, definitely research it. Apply some intellectual and rational filters to things to see if things continue to hold up, especially if it's important to you. We also have Mars, which directly impacts you guys because it's your ruling dignitary, Aries. So what's going on with Mars? Mars is in opposition to Chiron, and this will impact you a great deal because it's a diminishing energy. It's an energy of, why can't I be productive? Why is it always so difficult to move forward? Is something wrong with how I'm doing things? There's a lot of self-doubt that can be associated with this energy, as well as self-injury, or not self-injury, but injury in general, especially if you try to overcompensate by trying too hard. So it hasn't been the best energy this week. It could also be energy that reveals different stuff from the past, injuries, challenges that are coming up now. You'll experience a little more toxicity, a few more challenges with that. It will not last forever. In fact, it ends on the In fact, no, it will go to the end of September. I think it's September 29th. So just take extra special care of yourselves through the end of September. I mean, of course, always, but generally speaking, especially now with that opposition to Chiron. And also, when it comes to how you feel about yourself, when it comes to any kind of hit that you're taking to your worth or your ability to do things productively, take a few steps back, give yourself some time. Extra compassion for you and for others is important right now. Mars is also sextile to Venus, which creates a virility and an excitability and a sensuality about the energy. But in opposition to Chiron, it could also be overreacting or overcompensating sexually or in your romantic relationship because you feel bad or feel crappy in other places in your life. For me, this is not the best energy. I wouldn't recommend you going out and dating in this energy because it could lead you very susceptible to just people who would pay attention to you or give you sex easily, as opposed to somebody who's really going to care about you. You're a lot more likely to settle in this energy. We also have Venus very active this week. She is square to Jupiter through the 24th, and she is square to Uranus all week long. This energy happened when she was in retrograde a couple of months ago during Leo season, and it's quite I'm losing the word. I apologize, guys. It's disruptive. Venus square Uranus is very, I want to step outside. I'm tired of my norm. It's like a constant agitation of, I want to look different. I want to be different. I want to feel different. I want to try different things. I'm valuing things that I didn't used to value. So it is quite the rebellious energy, especially when it comes to things like personal relationships. This can really impact us in difficult ways, especially with the square to Jupiter up through the 24th. Overindulgence and rebelliousness like always ends up in like a Girls Gone Wild video. Like that's kind of it. Like, will you be proud of what you come out with after this week? Will we be proud of who we are with or how we behave? Probably not. We will have fun while we're doing it and probably regret it later. Just an FYI, because Venus and Mars are also sextile, which making people horny. FYI. Then we also have a trine to Chiron, which is trying to balance out injuries from the past, finding a way to heal them. We could be overcompensating in this energy, or of course we could be also trying to heal and trying to prove to ourselves or show ourselves how we healed. It doesn't mean we got all the pieces together where they should be though. So challenging energy. We also have Saturn. Very interesting, because now the nodes and Saturn are in positions, because Saturn has retrograded back to almost 1 degree by the end of this week, 1 degree Pisces. And the nodes will go between 25 to 24 degrees of their relative zodiac signs of Aries, North Node, Libra, South Node. What does this mean? Well, there's a game change here when it comes to rules, laws, regulations, commitments. There's something going on here where Saturn sextile the North Node, this sense of taking it seriously, taking our own personal authority more seriously, maturing and wanting to interact more impactfully with things that maybe you don't know, but you don't have to. This is almost like a maturation period. And then that South Node trying to South Node is almost like, okay, I'm good. I know it doesn't, I'm good leaving it behind. I'm comfortable with what has happened. It's almost like in some ways, and I don't mean to get too political, people will start to make things right once they know they can't get in trouble for what they've made wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? That's the kind of energy I'm talking about. Just an FYI. So let's move into Aries specific energy. For that, I look at what's going on in Aries and what's going on with Mars, because it's your ruling dignitary. So what's going on in Aries? Chiron is in Aries. It's going to be at 18 degrees Aries. Chiron is going to be with Aries for a while. So We also have the North Node in Aries moving between 25 and 24 degrees Aries. And of course, that's always attached to the South Node at the same degrees in Libra. So what's happening with Mars? Mars is in Libra. So Mars is directly opposite from you, its home domicile. It is going to be moving between 16 to 20 degrees Libra this week. So those of you born in the second decan or in the middle of Aries season, you have Chiron conjunct your natal sun and you have Mars in opposition to it. So you're right at ground zero of that Mars Chiron opposition. And so you could be very challenged this week with how you feel about yourself, or levels of frustration may rise. You also have Mars sextile to Venus, and through the 23rd, so the first couple of days of this week, says it could quadrate to Saturn. That is not a major aspect, but because it's a minor aspect between two malefic energies, it's still going to create a lot of friction, especially with both of them interacting with Chiron. Saturn is semi-square to Chiron, Mars is in opposition to Chiron. So this could really impact our frustration levels and our ability to, our self-esteem levels as well, because we just feel like we're not making any progress, or that everybody's always questioning us and everything that we do, and we're tired of it. The feeling of being oppressed, or like that may build, and it will play out in different areas of your life depending on which house this is all playing out in for you guys. But there is a level of frustration that could be off the hook this week, especially because that sextile to Venus is revving up that virility and that stamina. But it feels almost like a car on cinder blocks. You know, a sense of revving your engine but nowhere to go, or trapped by inability to move. And that could be very, very frustrating, like a Mustang in a stable. Very, very frustrating energy. So let's go into the decans of Aries. If you know that your natal sun is between 0 and 9 degrees Aries, it's in the first group of 10 degrees of Aries. So you guys are Aries 1. This correlates to Aries birthdays, and this is an estimate, guys, but it still correlates to about Aries birthdays basically in March. So we have April, May, so June is not May. So we have March, say 22nd to April 1st. It's in and around, I got to figure the numbers. March 22nd to April 1st is in and around those birthdays. If your birthday falls somewhere in there, these first decan energies will impact you. If you're at the cusps, this is happening all week long. If not, it's happening a couple of days in, where your natal suns are loosely conjunct to Neptune as it moves deeper into Pisces, but also in opposition to the sun. And then as the sun moves into Libra by the 23rd, it will be officially in opposition to all of your natal suns. Though those of you born closer to, say, March 30th and April 1st will feel it, will get less impact until later on this week. An opposition between your sun and the sun can cause a great deal of friction when it comes to egotism and your ego, how you feel, how courageous you feel. It could be diminutive. It can be majorly challenging. So this could be this week, especially because of the position of Mars and what it's going through. There can be a lot of frustration this week, or a lot of challenges that are revving your engine up and make you want to overcompensate by doing something that might actually injure yourself. So self-care and compassion is especially important for you guys. With a long-term sextile to Pluto, you are impactful. You have a lot of profound impact on people. It just may be that this week you need to slow it down a little bit. You also have a semi-square to Jupiter, so you're already ahead of yourself. So please be particularly careful with how you push yourself right now, especially because that sun, remember, is, if you're born at the cusps especially, so that would be April, say 21st, 22nd, 23rd, you guys are still conjunct Neptune in opposition to the sun. You know, so it's like, you might be believing delusions, not like actual psychotic delusions, but like you're not necessarily thinking straight or able to discern reality from what you want to be reality. So it's not a good time to leap forward. It's not a good week for you guys to leap forward. It's a good time for you to practice self-compassion and try to understand why you're feeling these things. Just an FYI. Little preview. Your natal suns will be the ones conjunct the full moon that's coming up in Aries on the 29th. And that actually is a really beautiful, peaceful full moon. There's not a lot interacting with it. So that will be a big part for you guys, especially about releasing and letting something finish and end to make room for something new. Very powerful moon for you. Let's go on to Aries 2. So if you know that your natal sun is between 10 and 19 degrees Aries, you are Aries 2. This correlates to Aries birthdays between April 2nd and the 11th. In and around those dates. So your natal suns are the ones that are conjunct to Chiron, which means they are in direct opposition to Mars. So you're going to feel the most pressure when it comes to proving yourself or feeling like nobody ever gets how you want to do things, or feeling really restricted or restrained or not appreciated. All of those things will hit you really hard. Now, your natal suns are trine to Venus through the 25th. So there is a bit of easement when it comes to romance or when it comes to finances. So that's really helpful energy. But you also have a quincunx to Mercury and a semi-square to Saturn. This is just not the best time to take any big moves or big pushes ahead, especially with that opposition to Mars right now. But the quincunx to Mercury, it's like you're not like, this is not. If I could put you all on vacation this week, I would. In fact, you may feel drained and like you need a vacation this week. So misinformation could lead to greater risk of injury, maybe of your physical self, maybe of your career. Overcompensating could really push you to a point where you end up wrecking something. So ultimately, even though this is a frustrating week for you, it will end, right? And there is this easement here when it comes to, hey, I'm making money. Maybe I'll take myself for a frickin' spa day. Like, take it in the context, or use the resources you have to be compassionate to yourself and help and put you in a state of mind where you're most compassionate to others. FYI. Let's go into Aries 3. So if you know that your natal sun is between 20 and 29 degrees Aries, you guys, your natal suns are in the third decan, the last 10 degrees of Aries. So you guys are Aries 3s. This correlates to Aries birthdays between the 12th and the 22nd, in and around there. 12th and the 22nd of April, excuse me. So your natal suns are conjunct the North Node, which means you are absolutely future focused, and you're almost going to see in yourself over the next couple of months that you're not interested in the same things that you used to be. The things that used to appeal to you don't appeal to you in the same way. It's actually the opposite of that. You're leaning more toward like just stuff that you identified yourself as. Now it's like, maybe I don't like cheesecake that much, or maybe I don't need to be by the water so much, or maybe I don't need a partnership to feel good about myself as much. All of those things, you'll start to see yourself actually kind of maturing and growing up. We have a sextile to Saturn, so that's another maturing energy, this sense of knowing who you are, taking on more authority roles, being more career focused, and focused on long-term commitment to building things. And then from the 25th on, your natal suns are also going to be trine to Venus, which means there's going to be an easement when it comes to romance and grace and your ability to be graceful and communicate gracefully and be more romantic. And this is a great time to beautify yourself, or to paint your house, whatever it is. An easement with Venus is also a sense of sort of finding a nice time to balance out your checkbook as well. So for you guys, could be an actually very productive week, especially when it comes to planning and strategizing for what your next move is going to be. I love you guys. Please feel free to let me know in the comments below how you're experiencing this energy. If you like this video, show me by by hitting the like button, and then also subscribe to the channel so we can grow over here. If you know somebody who you think would really love this information and love this video, then please share it with them. And then come on over to Born Without Boundaries Tarot for your week ahead tarot card message. I love you guys. See you in the videos.